The reason I wrote the book is I am a journalist and a human being who just hates getting things wrong. And I got a very, very big thing wrong, which is I didn't expect Britain to vote for Brexit. And the reason I didn't expect Britain to vote for Brexit is because, and I imagine there are some people in the room who may disagree with me about this, but because normally, in my experience, the economic arguments tend to determine how people vote. And my view during the EU referendum and subsequently was that Brexit was not going to be an economic catastrophe, but it was going to make us a bit poorer. I felt the way the Remain campaign presented the economic case was overstating the risks, and I said that, but nonetheless I believed and still believe that while Brexit would not be economically devastating, it would be negative. And normally, the British people tend to vote on the basis of whether they're going to be richer or poorer. So, having seen the British people vote for Brexit, I then did think Americans probably would vote for Trump. And then we've seen subsequently, the surge of subsequently and before, we've seen the surge of populism in a number of other rich Western countries, and of course we've also seen the great Corbyn surge. Now, the Corbyn surge, Labour rising in the polls from 30% to 40% during that recent general election campaign, and defying the predictions of most forecasters that Labour was going to collapse during the general election. But underlying these votes is a prevailing sense, and this was what I really wanted to get to grips with in this book, a prevailing sense that the economy has not been working for the vast majority of people for a considerably long time. It's true here, and it's true in America. People on middle to low incomes in this country have suffered a stagnation of wages since the crash, in some cases for much longer than that. And if the recent economic forecasts by the government's own forecasting body are correct, living standards for millions and millions of people are still going to be lower than they were before the crash in 3, 4, 5 years' time. It's going to take a colossally long time for people's living standards to recover.
Do you have an answer to that? Because in the book you describe, I think in one of the chapters, the Sweden model in terms of looking at capital over labour and the way we've got it wrong in the UK over a period of time.
So look, there are lots and lots of different aspects to all of this. I mean, one of the things which is almost certainly not going to be popular in this room, but, you know, I've got to say it anyway. One of the things that is demonstrably the case, well, let's go back to what is one of the problems that needs to be solved. If you go back over 35 years, right, in every developed economy, the share of income that goes to the owners of capital has risen very, very significantly, and the share going to workers, employees, has fallen very, very significantly. All that's happened is that the balance of power between capital and labour has shifted decisively towards managers and away from workers. And that's a lot to do with the way that the power of trade unions has been massively reduced. Now, you know, if you look at an economy, you mentioned Sweden. The reason I mentioned Sweden in the book is this: none of us would regard Sweden as a basket case economy. It's got higher living standards than we have. It's a relatively happy place. Germany too, right? High living standards, rich country. What are two very significant characteristics of Sweden and Germany? They have trade unions much more involved both in the running of the companies and even at top level in top level economic decisions. So, I'm afraid in this particular area, I think there is a bigger role for the state and for watchdogs. And then finally, there are some elements of the trade union reforms that we've seen that I think should be rolled back. You know, and you won't get response. You know, if you treat trade unions like children, which is what we've basically done over the last 30 years, they will behave like children. Unless you begin to treat trade unions in a more adult and sensible way, we're not going to get rational outcomes.